Welcome back, everybody. My name is Max Tim. This is ISI Insider News. As always, we have Shayna Weber with us. Shayna, how was your adventure in Taylor Swifting?
I did 2 pre-sales and I still didn't get tickets. Like every time you go in and then you pick your seats and it would pull you back out and then it like to go do it. And then it would say, oh, somebody already took those seats. And then you have to go back in. And by that time, they're all just like disappearing.
Interesting.
It was complete madness. And then today I got Garth Brooks tickets for Vegas. So I just shipped that money over. And
was that through TicketMaster that you got Garth Brooks? Interesting.
Yeah. And they fixed it. So they were giving like specific times for each show to divide up the wait time. And then, yeah, it was a lot easier and smoother to get these tickets. It wasn't like I never got the tickets and then went in and then they were gone already. It wasn't like that kind of madness. But still, Ticketmaster puts this huge like $85 fee on each ticket that you buy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
How much are the tickets?
Service fees. Thank you so much for your service of effing us.
Wow.
Sorry.
So you weren't able to get any Taylor Swift tickets?
I didn't get any Taylor Swift tickets.
Oh,
nope.
My goodness.
Time in 15 years that I've wanted to see her and haven't been able to. So it's okay.
Wow.
It'll happen if it happens. Maybe I'll get some later, but
$85 service fee. How much are the tickets? I don't understand.
Well, tickets range from, if you're close, they were like $1,000 to farther back were like 200 or something. Okay. But still on a $200 ticket.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That is crazy. Wow. I didn't know that.
On you Ticketmaster for your service fees.
Yeah, seriously.
Not very convenient. Convenience fee, service fee, whatever they want to say. I want to know where that money goes.
Oh man. Well, anyway, I did not have any adventures in Ticketmastering, but I'm going cash because it's a holiday week, man. It's a 3-day work week.
Time to get casual and put on those elastic pants.
Yeah, I do have jeans on, so even though you can't see it. Everything's okay. Everything's good. I think we're just looking forward to the holiday weekend. Let us know what you're all going to do for the holiday weekend. Hopefully you're enjoying some time with family and or friends and you're not by yourself. If you are, I hope that you just eat as much as you possibly can and watch as many movies and TV shows as possible.
Yeah, I hope you relish in the solitude and just soak it up.
That's true. Some people would prefer that. So let's get on to what we're going to talk about today, right? We've got a top headline about box office. Again, we're going to be talking about the movie world a little bit. We've got 4 articles that we're going to talk about. Bob Iger, streaming movies, a whole bunch of things we're going to be chatting about with the business. We've got a really cool article by Corey Mandel. We're going to talk about what we watch, of course, which I was listing all the things that I watched this week. And holy cow, I was a couch potato.
I know. I watched more than usual for myself as well.
Yeah. I don't know what. I guess we were just preparing for our long winter's nap or something for, the winter coming up. And then some very cool news that we'll be sharing at the end. Let's get into top headline. What do we got?
Our top headline this week is a very interesting one that will lead us into a bigger topic. So this weekend's box office, the movie She Said completely bombed. And so it raises the question, which Variety put out there, why aren't award season movies resonating with audiences?
And it's kind of always been like that a little bit, but then again, sometimes things kind of pick up speed, or at least it did in the past where, movies like Spotlight would eventually kind of gain momentum and get a little bit more. It's always kind of been like that, but this was a big bomb. Like I think a big part of it, which I think is important to note in the article, is that they said people right now kind of want escapism with all these things going on. Do I really want to go to the theater to watch the takedown of some animal like Harvey Weinstein, which I'm just happy it's done. I don't know if I need to know all of it. So the psychological behind it, it could have a huge factor.
Yeah, I think part of it is that we've just been bombarded with so much bad news, and to then go make the choice to go to the movie theater and watch something that's so inherently negative, even though it is a positive story about fighting back and about, getting justice, it still feels like a downer. And because that guy, I'm not even going to say his name, is in court right now, in the process of figuring out if he's going to be sentenced to longer jail time for life, all of these charges are going to go against him. It's still kind of like, I don't know if I want to spend 2 hours going through that sort of like angsty, terrible feeling that these women and these reporters went through. I'm not ready for that.
Well, and I think that's why this is the top headline, because there was an important part at the end of the article that I'm just going to read, because it kind of gives all of us as writers a little bit of a look into and inside the landscape out there, which we're all kind of already aware of, but they just sum it up in one relatively short paragraph here. But it says movie studios have always been risk averse, but their appetite for taking big swings has only diminished in recent years. First, streaming services like Netflix and Amazon got into the game. They were releasing movies by Scorsese and Alfonso Cuarón and kind of getting, I'm paraphrasing, but getting viewers used to watching these big movies at home. And then we've got all this corporate consolidation. It was triggered then by traditional media players' urgent, need to bulk up in these streaming wars. So all the other corporations got involved. And so now we have all of this content. And that then resulted in fewer independent studios to produce theatrical releases, which I think is a really big deal compared to 10 to 20 years ago. And then it also left these corporate parents with a lot of debt, making them more hesitant to greenlight the next historical drama or esoteric Bildungsroman, which, by the way, I didn't know what Bildungsroman meant, but it means a novel dealing with one person's formative years or spiritual education. It's basically just talking about kind of a long form coming of age story. Which says a lot, like how many people really want to be going to the theater to see those movies. That's what we're talking about. It's not talking about like the movie industry dying. Right. But then on top of it, you got the pandemic, closed all the theaters. People refused to go anyway. You've got record inflation, looming recession. So there's it's both completely understandable at the same time really scary, because as it ends the article here, unless movies like She Said start performing better at the box office, a whole sector of the theatrical movie business may be imperiled. And so something's going to have to change. And it's why we keep seeing huge turnout to Wakanda Forever, in these major Marvel movies.
Yeah, I think for me, Elvis did really well in the theaters.
Right.
Huge. Even though that's kind of a bummer of a story in the end, it's still fantastical. It's still escapism. Same with Everything Everywhere All at Once. That was sort of a sneak attack in the theater, has done amazingly well. Escapism. I think that what people want to see right now is getting out of the bad news of everyday life and jumping into something that doesn't feel like, so heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's still room for those movies. We always love a good cry, but I would agree. I'm into just sort of jumping into a different place and time and escaping the sex.
She Said seems like a movie that I would like to watch. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'd get into my car, drive 20 plus minutes to then go into the theater, sit down, pay. It's an event. And I think that's how a lot of people are seeing this now. So I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. I do think the positive is that there will be more opportunities made to make movies, because the streamers are going to have to just move to that model. But you would think that this headline feels old. Like, how have this should have been figured out a few years ago. This is not new. And yet people are like, oh no, well, duh, man. What?
Yeah, it feels old. It feels like when COVID hit, and then we were going through COVID, and we were all saying we want to watch fun, happy movies, even scary movies. Yeah. Those are doing very well. We want to escape from the life, the bad news. I feel like it should have clicked, but I guess not.
Yeah. It also shows. She said, I don't know the dates of the production of that movie. It was probably a couple years ago. So it takes a while for these movies to get out. So anyway, it's just something to keep an eye on. If you do have that epic sweeping historical drama, work on it and be passionate about it. It may not be the right time to be getting it out into the world, sadly.
Or it might be, because it takes forever to get anything done. So just continue and finish.
That's true.
Come full circle,
Yeah. That's our top headline, but we've got more news you can use as our next segment. So what did you choose for your articles this time, Shayna?
Well, I chose one that was just sort of everywhere last night.
This could easily be the top headline.
Yeah, this could have easily been, but it wasn't as interesting to me as talking about the box office. Disney's Bob Iger has once again taken over at Disney as CEO.
Yeah.
Where he was before, and then he left in early 2020.
Yeah.
By Bob Chapek, and now he's back. Yeah. So was reading this morning, stocks went up.
Right.
People are happy about it, I guess.
Yeah.
What
It's
do
a
you
big
think?
deal. It's a really big deal. And apparently he's only going to be there. It's like a 2-year contract or something. I read somewhere where it's not a long-term sign on. I think they brought him in. I don't know all the drama that happened behind the scenes in terms of why Chapek was released, because he signed a new extension in July or something. So it was a huge surprise, but yeah, the stocks went up by 9% after hitting the low of a 52-week low of 86.28 earlier in this month. So if you're in the stock market, Disney might jump up to about 116, 118 in a couple months. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, they're saying in this article that part of the reason that people were upset about Chapek was because of the raise in theme park prices, which just feels so not timely or like appropriate in this current state of the world to raise prices as much as that. So that in the article, it says that's one of the reasons.
Yeah. But there are rumblings that Iger is probably not even going to reduce those ticket prices. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. These are this kind of stories that even as writers, we should be aware of. If you have notifications coming up on your phone, you probably already know, because if you follow the Hollywood Reporter, I get like 18 different notifications of breaking news. And I'm like, not really.
Yeah, me too.
This is not breaking news.
It's like the same thing. Bob Iger. And I was like, geez, okay.
Yeah.
Right. I give in.
World we live in. What's the next one you got?
This one is jumping off of what we were talking about last week, where I was saying I love a good list of what to watch. Well, I believe that, the variety gods heard me, and they created this list that we're linking here of the best movies to stream in November, all of the shows and movies that are on each platform right now, and a link to watch them on your computer.
Yeah.
It's genius. So there's Apple TV, there's Spirited on Apple TV, there's on Amazon Plus, The People We Hate at the Wedding, which I heard is really great, The English, which you watched, Disenchanted, which we're going to talk about, that you watched on Disney Plus, The Santa Clauses, HBO Max, A Christmas Story Christmas is out. I mean, there's
a ton.
Such a great list that you could just look at and be like, oh yeah, and then mark your calendar for what's coming up. So I thought that was great.
It's like a little channel guide, and they're listing all, and they're saying 21 of the best movies. I would say most hyped movies, because I don't know if some of these are best. But I enjoyed the few of them that I've seen on here. See How They Run was really fun with Sam Rockwell. Nope was enjoyable. I haven't seen Don't Worry, Darling. I did watch Disenchanted a couple nights ago. I felt afterwards. I loved Enchanted.
Because it was not written by the writer who wrote Enchanted. He got iced out.
It was the whole conceptual approach to the movie was bad. It's just a bad conceptual approach. It wasn't even just the individual writing of the scenes. The idea was not a good idea. I love Amy Adams. I love everybody in the movie. And it was still fun to see the singing and dancing and stuff. Maya Rudolph is amazing. It was bad. It was really disappointing because I loved the first one. But anyway, great list. If you're trying to figure out what you want to watch, Fire of Love sounds amazing. This documentary on Disney Plus really sounds fantastic. If you like love stories, if you like documentaries, I'm definitely going to watch that.
What are your articles that you pulled?
So I just, there was a nice, fun little good news article. Amazon's Bezos donating $100 million to Dolly Parton's charity. Courage and Civility Award was awarded to Dolly Parton, which then she can use for her charity. $100 million. Which, if I had $100 million, I'd probably give it to Dolly Parton's charity too, because she is awesome. I just thought that was nice, good news. If you can read that article if you want. But then the other article that I shared, which we can just put it in the description below the video, is just a little bit more of the business behind Bob Iger's, ascent back into the throny chair that he's going to sit in. So anyway, those are the articles. I'd love your list, Shayna. And if anybody's looking for something to watch, you can just peruse that list.
Yeah, it's great.
This week in ISA Insider, what do we got?
There is an article by Corey Mandel, and it's called The Right Mindset. And it's a very short article. It's very precise, And so what we did is we pulled another article to go with it if you want to read a little bit more. Corey says in his article that he requires all of his students to read this before their first class. And it's about expanding your growth mindset.
Yeah.
Instead of being in a fixed mindset. So what is that all about?
I think it's a really great, quick little read, and for you to hopefully just kind of let it soak in and ask the question, what type am I? Do I have a fixed mindset or do I have a growth mindset? The growth mindset obviously sounds more positive, but you would be surprised how much of your mind might actually be set in that fixed mindset. Fixed mindset, basically, and I'm highly paraphrasing, is that you accept your ability as it is, and you work with that ability and expect that ability to be enough. And sometimes it can be, but a growth mindset means I accept my ability as it is, but I can also improve and be better. And that then means I have to work hard to learn in order to be better. And for any artist out there, I think it's absolutely required to have a growth mindset.
I agree. And then what we did is we linked this other article from Harvard Business Review that goes in a little bit more to what the growth mindset actually means. The Corey Mandel article was a nice intro to it, but I really needed to know a little bit more about it because I do feel like I have a growth mindset, but this further article goes a lot into the triggers that we have when it comes to the growth mindset and the ways and the misconceptions that we have about it. And so I learned a little bit more about that. And I was like, oh, I'm understanding it a little bit more, especially when you're in a collaborative workspace, you know, not just your own writing where you're by yourself, but when you're in a collaborative setting with a team or in an office, things like that, and you're wanting to continue to grow and learn, what are the things that sort of push back on that?
It's this idea of not resting on your laurels. You know, it's there are some people who are born with this God-given talent, if you want to, you know, believe in the idea of God-given, whatever. It's this natural talent that people are born with, and a lot of people tend to have that. Some people just have a knack for whatever it is they're doing, but that doesn't mean those people are necessarily just relying on it. Like a Michael Jordan, he worked his butt off through middle school and high school to become Michael Jordan, but then once he got there, he continued to try to be better and more good, you know, more talented. And so there was this level of growth. And a lot of the top actors in town, you know, Meryl Streep still sees some form of an acting coach. So you can't just sit back and go, I'm good enough and I'm just going to continue writing with this level of talent. You have to also be educating yourself. And that's why, you know, there are people like us here at the ISA to try to, you know, offer opportunities for people to continue to grow.
Yeah, and the other part of the article I found was really interesting was the fact that to have a growth mindset, you have to accept that you will fail. You have to accept errors and doing the wrong thing and messing up and recovering from that. That is a huge part of the growth mindset. And I think as writers, you know, we never want that rejection, but if you're in it, you learn how to deal with that and keep going. And that's sort of like the whole idea is you have to keep going. You can't just be stuck on, well, I'm good at this and this is how it is. And if I never mess up, I'm never going to fail.
Yeah. And that keeps you from not being able to take notes, to receive notes on scripts. And then you're going to fight those notes and people aren't going to want to work with you.
Yep. Yeah. So it's a great, and if nothing else, you know, it's a great conversation starter. Be like, walk into that networking event and be like, hey, do you have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? People be like, what?
maybe let the conversation run a little bit.
No,
I don't know if you want to open with that.
I'm going to start with that and just see what happens.
Yeah, right. See what happens. Oh, I confront a mistake. I have a growth mindset now.
I'll wear GoPro and I'll try it.
Yeah. Oh, golly. All right. That's This Week in ISA Insider. Go and check it out. We've got a whole bunch of articles on there that you should all be reading. All right. Next segment. What are we watching? We watched a ton, like we mentioned.
And we watched a couple of same things. First, I'm going to talk about this BBC show that's on AMC that I watched that I'm highly, highly recommending. It is called Mood. It is with the actress Nicole Leckie. This show was based on, I believe, her I wouldn't say one-man show because she's not, but a one-person show that she did on on stage where she sang and probably did, some of these bits. It's glorious. If you like super flawed, really, really messed up characters who are going to have some sort of redemption, this is the show for you. It's hilarious. There's random musical numbers from her imagination that pop through because she wants to be a rapper. And I mean, it's dirty. There's a lot of like stuff in it that's like, oh, but and not like that super, but it's edgy. I'll say that. I love it. And I think she's one of those people that is going to be a force. It's kind of like Fleabag. It has that kind of tone to it. It's just a little bit younger.
Okay.
So anyway, that one's really good. I highly recommend that.
Okay.
I also watched Inside Man, which is another BBC show. I guess
I've heard that's pretty good with Stanley Tucci.
Yeah, it's Stanley Tucci, who's an inmate who murdered his wife and accepted the guilty plea. He doesn't talk about it, even though he's a criminologist, and then he murdered his wife.
Yeah.
He's in jail on death row, and he takes cases that have moral value to them. And there's a case of a missing woman that you actually get to see what happens along with David Tennant. So you're kind of, it's very well done. I love Stanley Tucci. I mean, and put him with David Tennant. I love
that. David Tennant is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one was really good. And then my final two, I tried to watch Spirited, which is an Apple movie with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. And I got about 10 minutes into it and I was kind of like, I don't think I'm in the mood for this right now. I'm not saying that it was bad.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it was a little bit too like nudge, nudge, wink, wink. We're really funny, aren't we? Like that kind of thing. And I was just kind of like, I don't know if I'm in the mood for this, but maybe after, the holidays, if I have some spike eggnog or something.
I was just going to say that.
I think that's what it'll take. Yeah. Watch that. And then I watched Enola Holmes too, because I really liked the first one and the second one.
I loved it. I thought it was just as good as the first one. It was really fun.
Yeah.
Enola Holmes, it's one of those movies that it's just kind of candy, and all the actors are awesome. I do think the gentleman that plays Sherlock Holmes is too good looking for Sherlock Holmes, but he does a great job.
Superman, hello.
Yeah. I can't remember what is his name. Shoot, I can't remember his name.
Now I've lost it.
But yeah, I watched that. I'm looking forward to Spirited. We already mentioned Disenchanted. Oh gosh, it was so bad. Henry Cavill. That's
okay.
Yeah. But then I watched the first 2 episodes of the new season of Dead to Me. Loved it so far. It's so good. Same kind of comedy. The hard part is trying to forget about the news about Christina Applegate and being, diagnosed with Parkinson's, and oh god, it's hard to MS, my bad. It's hard to kind of pull myself out saying that's Christina Applegate and not her character, but nonetheless, it's still really great. Another episode of The Toys That Built America. I'll ask that question. What do you think are the 2 most successful toys in history? Try to think pretty simple. Don't go over, too crazy.
Slinky.
The Slinky? Nope.
Yeah.
Close. There's one that is that type.
Blocks? I don't know. Building blocks?
Very, very close. What are the most famous and famously known? Legos.
Yeah.
There's another one that I didn't realize. So the Erector set was kind of the prelude to the Legos. The Erector set was massive, but then the
Rubik's Cube.
I
was going to say that, but then I was like, that because it feels very niche now.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And close to that, which I couldn't believe, $1 billion game, Jenga.
Yeah, I believe that.
Frickin' Jenga. God, this woman it's a great game. She just randomly came up with this game to kind of keep her nephew active, and she was like, hey, this is, yeah. I also watched The Electrical Life of Louis Wain with Benedict Cumberbatch and Claire Foy, and I have a massive crush on Claire Foy. But it was really very heartwarming and just a great movie. If that movie was made in 1998, it would be getting all of the kind of awards buzz and stuff.
What's it on?
Gosh, I can't remember what I watched on. You can search for it on your, streaming device, but it's like the period piece about this person that Benedict Cumberbatch, who became a very, very famous artist of cats. And so if you like cats, you're going to love this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he fell in love with this woman, Claire Foy, and it was just about the relationship and about his kind of very up and down, challenging life. And it's just really good. So that's it. Let us know what you're watching, especially now that we've got the official start of the holiday movie viewing season.
Let us know what Christmas, holiday, Thanksgiving, whatever movies that we should be watching that you're watching.
I think I'm going to make it a point to watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles this year. It's been a few years since I've seen it, and God, I love that movie.
You know what movie I'm going to watch? Because I watched Home Alone, and he has like a little part in Home Alone too. I'm gonna watch Uncle Buck again.
Yeah, oh God, I was just thinking Uncle Buck. It's John Candy is so good.
So good.
All right, let's flip to the end here. Last segment, good news of the week. This is some pretty cool good news, especially if you're like an Indiana Jones kind of fan.
Yeah. So the headline is archaeologists hunting for Cleopatra's tomb uncover a geometric miracle tunnel. And these pictures are super, super cool.
Unbelievable.
During ongoing excavations and explorations of a temple that I can't say the name, they uncovered the structure 13 meters below the ground, and it's a 2-meter tall tunnel. That, I mean, it's so cool.
The fact that
I'm sort of baffled by like how, all of it works.
Not only the people that built this, 2000 plus years ago, but then the archaeologists today who happened to build a shaft, not a very big shaft, in a spot that happened to lead into this tunnel. That's incredible. Yeah. This tunnel is not big. Like, this is not like a massive, you can't drive cars down this tunnel. And the fact that they're purposely looking for Cleopatra and Mark Antony's tomb, and they're saying it may lead to it. The problem I'm seeing is that
20 years they've been looking for this.
Yeah. No, I have a negative feeling that they're not going to find it.
Don't open anything.
Yeah, well, that too. But there was this huge earthquake, hundreds and hundreds of years ago that kind of toppled a lot of the tunnel. And of course, as fate would have it, that's probably where Cleopatra is buried. But still very cool. They're finding a whole bunch of clues that this could very well be a tunnel that leads to Cleopatra.
Amazing.
It is. It's just freaking amazing. I don't have the patience to be an archaeologist, but boy, I wish I could.
Man, I would love it. Yeah, I don't either. But I think in a past life or in an alternate universe, that would be like the greatest.
Yeah, totally different life. Like if you have a family, you have to bring them with you onto all the digs, and I don't know how you would even do any of that. But pretty cool, good news story of the week. A pretty big news week, really. Keep us posted if there are any pieces of news that you all find. Feel free to share it in the links. We can be sharing these pieces of news with everybody. Make this a little bit of a community. If you have any questions of any kind, put some comments down there underneath this video. And as always, Shayna, this is a pleasure.
Time just flew. I hope it flew for all you.
You going to eat a ton of turkey this weekend?
I am going to, you know what? I don't know if I eat a lot of turkey. I think I just eat enough turkey, but what I really like is the mashed potatoes and stuffing.
Yes.
And I like all the side things, but turkey for me is kind of like, once I have a couple bites, I'm good.
I like a whole bunch of really charred pieces of turkey skin on the turkey, but you're right. It's the stuffing and mashed potatoes. My mom just makes the greatest. We're going to host it here at my little house this year, and we got some family coming in. So anyway, enjoy the holiday, everybody. If you have any comments, questions, leave it. Like I said, let us know what you're watching. And Shayna, happy Thanksgiving. I will see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye, everybody.